Hey everybody, welcome to another digital making at home video. It's been a little while since me and Zach have done one of these, but we're here to help you out today. How's it going, dude?
Good.
Yeah, you ready to make a video game for the folks at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're here to make a game today that's going to be like a platformer type game in Scratch. Now, it looks a little bit complicated, but it's not. We'll talk you through the whole thing, and we'll do some really awesome stuff in this game that you can sort of get some complicated things happening inside it. We're going to be using a lot of the pink My blocks this week, because My blocks are very handy when making video games, and me and Zach will talk you through how those things work, and we'll go through them a piece at a time so that you get all the information that you need, and you can make some really cool games and start using the My blocks in your own projects as we go forward. You ready? Let's go. So you can get to the project here this week by going to rpf.io/dm-stars, and that will bring you to this page here where all the instructions are. And so we can see here that it tells you at the beginning of the little instructions that the game here is quite complicated, and because we're not learning how to build a physics engine, which is a thing that makes the game behave like real world objects, so when the Scratch cat jumps, he also falls down again out of the sky. We're not building that. That's not what we're here to learn today. We're going to learn to do a bit more Scratch today, and so that bit's already been made for us. Mark, who you may have seen in some of the other videos, has already made the physics engine part, and we can just sort of skip over that because it's a really complicated thing to build, and that's not what we're focusing on today. So if you want to roll down a bit, Zach, and just click on that link there where it tells you how to get to the starter project, it will open one up for you, the Coder Dojo Platformer Starter. Cool, and you can close our third tab because we were looking at one earlier, so we'll just close that one. And you'll see here that it will, leave, that's fine. Just click leave. That's it. And so you'll see here it will open up a new project in Scratch, and this is the setup for the game that we're about to build today. So do you want to click the green flag and just show everybody what it does quickly? So we've got the cat here, and we see the cat walks across the screen and falls down on the platforms. You see when it falls down and touches the black line, it treats it like the floor, okay, so it doesn't fall through. And you see that when Zach makes the cat jump up in the air, it falls back down again, just as though gravity was acting on it and was sort of collecting stars and making the cat run around. And when he falls off the bottom of the screen, he'll die. We've got our lives counter, and a number of points is how many stars we can collect. Cool, alright man. So now that we've shown everybody how it works, click C inside. We'll get in and have a look at the code. Now, the code in here, everybody, looks kind of daunting, right? So there's a lot of blocks all linked together in lots of really complicated ways, and you'll see them underneath the big script that says main physics. But we're going to ignore that for now. We don't need to have a look at that. So if you just move to the right a little bit, Zach, we're going to have a look at the define, reset character, and reset game. So you'll see here under these pink blocks, these are our My blocks that have been created for us, and they're like custom scripts. So you'll see the one that says reset character in the middle there. So whenever in your script it says use the pink reset character block, it will do all of the things that are listed under that pink one. So just show everybody in the middle what we're talking about, Zach. That's the one right there. So you'll see when we have define reset character, just click the magnifying glass a couple of times, make our code bigger so everyone can read it. Cool. So we've got reset character, and what happens is it sets our jump to true, so the cat can definitely jump. It sets our X velocity, so the speed we're moving at sideways, to 0, so we stand still, and it sets our Y velocity, our up and down speed, also to 0, so the cat will start not moving, and then it will go to a specific place inside our game, minus 187.42. And so that's the set point for where the cat begins the game. So every time the pink block reset character comes up, all of those things will happen immediately straight after. So if we scroll down a little bit, you see the next one underneath is reset game. And so we've got reset game. It sets our rotation style left right, which means our cat won't start turning. He'll always stand upright. It sets our jump height to 15, our gravity to 2, our speeds to 1, our lives to 3, and our points to 0. So in a new game, this is how we want it to be set up. And so we could change that number for jump height. So let's make the cat jump, Zach. So click the green flag. So we'll make the cat jump. So just make him jump straight up. Okay, we can see how high he jumps. Now change your jump height to something bigger and click the green flag and we'll reset the game. So change it to like 30 or something big. Yeah, cool. And that's it. And now when we click the green flag, it will reset our game. And it should reset our jump height to 30. So now just push up and make the cat jump. See how much higher he jumps. Way higher. Okay. So in those, you can set those different variables if you want your game to play differently. Okay. So you can see now he's doing a 30 height jump. And you see him trying to jump past those platforms, but he hits them like a roof. Okay. And so all of those physics are built for you. Those things about how he hits the platforms and stops and how he can't get past those, that's all done. So stop the game, mate. And change your jump height back to 15, because at the moment 30 is way too big. Okay. And so you can set all those as well. Like you can change your gravity, make the cat fall faster. You can do all sorts of different things if you want to. But right now, we're just having a look at those. So head back to your instructions, buddy. And you can tick off the first box. We've got the Scratch code. and then go down. We've had a look at the code, and we can see there that's the script in its entirety on our screen. That's a really big script. And you'll see on the left-hand side there, when it says when green flag clicks, so just hover over here, Zach, show over on that script. We have our reset game block appears whenever you click the green flag, and then forever it will run that massive main physics script. And you'll also see that there's a reset character pink block in there, another my block, which is the reset character block we looked at. And that one there, every time your Y position drops to beneath the bottom of the screen, your cat disappears. It uses the reset character script that we created to bring your cat back to the middle position and to stop it from moving anywhere. It just comes back and stands still, ready to start playing again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what's this one down the bottom here where it says if lives are less than 1, then lose? What would that do?
Like when your lives are less than 1.
Well, what's less than 1?
0.
Right, so when you've lost all your lives, what happens?
Then you basically like stop the game.
Yep.
And it says like game over maybe. Or
Yep.
something like that.
And so whatever we put underneath our pink lose block, whatever we define as lose in our my scripts is exactly what it will do. Nice one, dude. Cool. You ready to move on to the next step? Awesome. So let's do some coding. So you can, well, we've clicked all the ticks, we've looked inside the game, we've had a look at reset game and reset character, that's cool. So let's carry on and we'll start doing the actual coding part. So click on the losing the game button at the bottom of the screen there, man. Great. And then we come across here, and so what it wants us to do now is we have our new pink lose block, and inside the game there's no code attached to that. So we're going to have to make this script here. So before we do that, let's have a look at the blocks and explain to everybody at home what exactly it is that this lose script is going to do. So we've got our define lose, so we're going to tell Scratch, what do you mean when you say lose? Okay, I need to know what you want me to do, otherwise I can't do it. So what do we want Scratch to do when it says lose?
So we want it to, when life gets less than 1 or to 0, we want it to tell like all the other scripts that to stop all, and we want it to broadcast to another sprite that pops up and says like game over.
Okay, so when you say broadcast to another sprite, what do you mean? What does broadcast do?
It like sends a message to another sprite, says like, I need you to pop up this, or I need you to pop up like game over,
or make a sound, or jump across the screen. You can have it do pretty much anything, right? Once it receives that message, it does a bunch of stuff. Cool. And then what's the next thing it does? So it stops all the other scripts. It broadcasts a message to the other sprites that need to know the game is now over. What's the next thing our script is going to do?
It goes to the middle of our screen.
Yep, so take the cat and move him right to the middle of the screen, yeah, and then what's the cat going to do?
The cat's going to say game over for 2 seconds,
Yep.
and then it's going to stop everything.
It's going to kill everything in the game. Awesome, cool. So we're going to take this idea, we're going to add it to our game now underneath our lose block. So let's go back to our project. Awesome, and there's our lose block in the middle, right? So we've got define lose. So underneath lose, we're going to have it do a few things, right? So the first thing we wanted to do was stop all the scripts on the cat. So we want to take away control of the cat and stop people from being able to drive it. So the block we're looking for currently says stop all. That's it. So drag it in, connect it across the bottom, and you'll see at the moment, the stop all, I'll drag it to the bottom of the script first, man. So that stop all block has got a flat bottom on it, right? Meaning we can't attach any more blocks to the bottom. But when you change it to other scripts in Sprite, it puts a little dip on the bottom, there it is, and now we can add more blocks, yeah? So what was the next block we wanted to add? Stop all the scripts in this sprite, and then
broadcast a message.
Broadcast a message, awesome. So drag that block in, click on the down arrow, and we're going to make a new message, which was, what was it? What was our message?
Game over.
Game over, fantastic. Oh, hang on a sec, we got to type in the box. Game over. Awesome, enter. That's our new block. So we've got stop all the scripts in the sprite, broadcast game over. What was the third thing the script had to do?
Go to 0, 0.
Good, move our cat to the dead center of our screen. Cool, let's connect that to the bottom, go to 0, 0, awesome. So it stops all the scripts, broadcast game over to anything else it needs to know, goes to X, Y, dead center of the screen, and then it's going to
say game over.
Say game over for 2 seconds, cool. I mean, it doesn't have to say game over, it could say anything else. It could say you lose, or haha, or anything you want. You lose, okay. Cool. And then what was the last thing it did? Do you remember? It was another control block. We wanted it to kill the entire game, don't we?
Stop all.
Stop all, fantastic. Let's drag that across. Good stuff, man, and connect that to the bottom. Stop all. Awesome. So that's our lose script now, right? We've got all those things in the right order. So once our cat runs out of lives, that's exactly what should happen. Yeah? Awesome. So let's go back to our instructions and tick the box. So we can tick that. Cool. And then we can go down a bit. And the next thing we want to do is hide all the platforms and the edges. Okay, so we're going to start with the platforms and edges sprites, which are like have code for appearing when the green flag is clicked and hiding when it says game over. So let's go back to our project and we see the platforms one. So click on platforms and we want to when I receive game over. That's it. And we want to hide. So when I receive game over, so once the game is over, all the platforms disappear. Cool. And when the green flag is clicked, we want them to show. Cool. That's it. And then you can just duplicate those bits of code across to the edges sprite now. Cool. And then, oh, hang on a sec, yep, drop it down. That's it, click on platforms. And we just want to drag it so that we get the, we just want to drag it across the edges till we get the wiggle. That's it, let go, and then do it with green flag clicked show. Cool. So there we go. So right click to clean up your blocks to make sure they're both there. And there they are, game over. And then check platforms. So just platforms.
Clean up blocks.
Yep, that's fine. Check the platform sprite. There we go. Right click, clean up blocks. Make sure we don't have anything we don't want. So I think you got two of the same. Cool. So just get rid of one of them. We don't need it. Great. Cool. Awesome. Nice one, man. Let's go back and tick that box. Cool. Scroll down a bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stop the stars, which looks a bit complicated, doesn't it? That's okay. We'll get to it in just a sec. Okay. So we've made the bit that stops our game from working. Yeah, we know we've added that bit of code. So we're going to broadcast that game over message, which is going to stop the cat, stop control, move the cat to the middle of our screen, hide all the platforms and edges. And then we want it to be able to stop the stars as well. So all the stars that are dropping down out of the sky, we need to add some code to them to make sure that they know the game is over well. And we don't keep getting stars dropping from the bottom to the top of the screen, sorry. We want the whole thing to be over. We want everything to be killed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into our code and we're going to have a look at the collectible sprite and see the code that's on that sprite, right? And your eyebrows went up when we saw it because it is quite a complex bit of code, but we don't have to mess with that. We just have to add a few little simple bits that will make sure that they do the things we want them to do when game over happens, yeah? So let's go back to our project and click on the collectible, which is the star, right? And in your project, you can change the costumes if you want. You can make them anything. They don't have to be stars. They could be hamburgers or tacos or love hearts or whatever you want. So you can see here we've got this script. That's it, Zach. Bring it across so we can see it. Cool. So when we click the green flag, it's going to hide our sprites, right? We don't want it. We've got a star sitting in our game somewhere, but we don't want to be able to see the original star because all of the collectibles that drop from the top of the screen are clones of that one. So what's a clone?
Like a copy.
A copy of. And where do we know the word clone from?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. And what are the clone troopers?
Like, they're a clone. They're like the same person. Like, it's a copy of someone else.
Exactly. And so just like those clones where they can run and do their own things and they can, you know, shoot guns and follow orders from Jedis and stuff like that, our clones can do the same. Okay, so our clones can be touched. They can do all sorts of things. You can put scripts on them. You can make them do whatever you want them to do. And so you'll see here that when our green flag is clicked, we hide the original star. So the one star that's like the actual sprite that's hidden in the screen. Then we set the value to 1. So that's how many points you'll get when you collect that sprite. We also have its speed to 1, so how fast it's going to move. The frequency, how often they drop, is 1. Set create collectibles to true. Okay, so that's an important switch, that one there. The opposite of true is false. Okay, and in programming, true means yes and false means no, or true means on and false means off. And so we're going to have our repeating, this loop here, repeats and repeats until create collectibles is not true or it's false. Okay, once it's false, everything stops. While it's true, stars will continue to drop from the top of our screen, okay? And then our repeat until you turn them off is we wait the frequency number of seconds, so collectible frequency at the moment is 1. So we wait 1 second, then we pick a random X value from the very left to the very right, and then the Y value is always 179, which is at the very top. So it'll pick a spot somewhere on the top row of our screen, and then it will drop a star. It'll create a clone of it, and then that star will start to fall down, okay? So we see here, when I start as clone, pick costume collectible type. So you'll see collectible type is set to 1. And if we look at our costumes, we've only got 1 costume here. So if you add another costume now, Zachy, anything you want, what would your collectibles, man? What would you like it to be? Just go down the bottom, click the little bear face, and add a new costume for it. What are you going to collect? So not stars, something else. What do you reckon? Eggs?
Egg.
Yeah, cool, okay. So we've got our costume here, which is costume number 2. You'll see in the top corner of our costume, it's costume number 2. And if we change our collectible type to 2 here, we should start getting eggs dropping from the screen when we click the green flag. There's our egg. Okay.
Egg.
And the eggs are still worth 1 point as we collect them, right? And so what we could do is we could go to costumes, we could add something else. We'll add a new costume. I think, let's have a look, see what we can get to add, something crazy. We could add gems, right? Let's add a crystal. Okay, and then we go back to our code. We change our collectible type to 3. Cool, and then when we click the green flag, we should start getting gems falling from the sky instead. Okay, and so you can change yours to be whatever you want. You can add as many costumes as you would like, and as you go on, you can add some more complicated things, like maybe collectible type 4 drops out of the sky every so often, and they're worth more points. It's totally up to you how you do that. Okay, so at the moment we've got our collectibles set. Let's set it back to stars, just so that it looks the same as everyone else's at home. Okay, and you'll see when we click the green flag again, collectible type 1 is our stars that start dropping from the sky. So when I start as clone, so when our new stars drop from the top, what they'll do is they'll pick the costume based on that number. Whatever collectible type is set, that's the costume it chooses, right? So we've got 1, 2, or 3. We've got back to 1 now. It will appear, so it will show, because originally it will be hidden. The original is hidden. When the clone appears, it will also be hidden. So we need to change that to make sure it shows up. And then we repeat until the Y position, so the vertical position of our clone, is less than the bottom of the screen. And then what happens is it will just keep dropping by 1 until it gets to that point. If it touches the cat, it changes our points and it deletes the star, right? So once the cat collects it, you want the star to go away, right? You don't want to keep falling, have your player be able to collect it a million times and cheat. And then if it gets to the bottom, so repeat until it gets to the bottom. When it gets to the bottom, it jumps to the end of our script here and it just deletes that clone. Okay, so that's how that works. And we've got our pick costume type. If type equals 1, then switch costume to star 1. Okay. And that comes in a little bit into play a little bit later. And so what we want to do is we need to add some code to this now. So when I receive game over, we want it to turn off giving all of our collectibles. So it's going to hide the initial sprite and it's going to create collectibles. It's going to switch that to false. It's going to turn that off. So let's make that code now, man. So when I receive game over, that's it, drag it across. Cool, when I receive game over, what was the next bit? Do you remember what does it do? It should...
When I receive game over.
We want it to disappear.
So delete this clone.
We want it to hide actually, so we want looks hide. That's it, so when I receive game over, we want you to hide. And do you remember what the next block was, or do you want to have a look?
I have a feeling like a variable or a control.
Yeah, very good. It was set something to false. So what do we want it to stop doing? We want it to stop making more stars, right? So go to set collectible type, pull down that little arrow. And we want it to be create collectibles. Cool, drag that across and clip it to the bottom. And we want it to set 0, so instead of 0, type false. F-A-L-S-E. S-E. Cool, enter. So we've got game over, it hides and it stops making our stars when we lose. Okay, so that's exactly what we want. So we give that a tick and we carry on a bit. Oh, the next bit, making power-ups, so things that make your cat go. So let's just test our code, shall we? So we should have collectible type coming down. What will our costume be? What will we be collecting?
A star.
A star. And how would we make it something different?
By switching the costume.
Right, and how would we do that? What's the number that we need to change in our script that makes it do that? Do you remember? Because we want to change the type of our collectible. So the number we want to change is our collectible type, just there, that's the one. And you can change that to be whatever you want, stars or, so 1, 2 or 3 at the moment. So 2 was eggs, if you remember, and 3 was gems. Okay, so when we start our game, right, we start getting gems falling from the sky, very cool, exactly like we want.
Because the gems are harder because
they're a bit smaller, aren't they? That's right, they've got a smaller collision box. So if you go across, that's it, drop off the bottom. So we'll let the cat die because we want to see what happens at the end of the game. So that's 2. That's it, man, just lose all your lives. Just jump right off the end, that's it, keep going. Boof, there we go. And now we got to try and lose our last life.
Go off the edge, cat.
Can't die if you try. Here we go. Oh, and boff. Okay, there we go. You lose. Made one more gem and then it stopped them all for us. Yeah? So it must have made that gem before it managed to get that broadcast sent across. But cool, so it's doing what we want. Nice one. Next section, power-ups. Ready? Let's do it. At the moment, we've got one type of collectible, and what does it do?
It falls from the sky.
Yep, and then when we collect it, what do we get?
A point.
A point, right? Cool. That's cool. But like, it'd be nice if we had other ones. Like, what are some of the other collectibles in Mario? Like, what happens if you like collect one of those 1-ups? What do you get?
1 point.
No. In video games, when you collect the ones that say 1-up on them or something, what do you get?
Sometimes you get like coins.
Yeah. So in Mario, you collect coins for points. If you collect a 1-up, you get an extra life. Right? What are some of the other things you can collect in games to change the way the player moves or does stuff? Or like when we play Double Dragon, what happens when you collect some of the food power-ups?
You get more health.
You get more health. Are there any games you can think of where you get different kinds of things? You collect them, makes you run faster or jump higher or makes you bigger and stronger?
Remember, like, we used to play a game called like Castle Crushers. If you get a sandwich, it makes you massive and really strong.
Right, so there's lots of different power-ups you can get in games, yeah? And so we're going to do that now. We're going to add one that gives us another life, right? Because we lose our lives by falling off the edge, and you can keep your game going by collecting more lives. So some of our drops aren't going to be stars. They're going to be something different. Okay, maybe an egg will give you an extra life. Chomp on an egg, get a new life. Yeah, so we do that. All right, cool. So what we've got here, you'll see that in our scripts, we've got the bit here about our collectible sprite for when it starts as a clone. Okay, and you can see that it selects the costume here using pick costume collectible type, which we already talked about, right? We talked about how you use a different number to pick a different costume. So we've already got some costumes added to our one. So if you at home don't have any added, we're going to add a couple of costumes now. You can pick whatever you want out of the list, or you can upload your own if you prefer. But we're going to work through here, and so we're going to add a new costume to the collectible for our new power-up. We've done that, right? Mark added lightning bolt in his game. We added eggs. Yeah, so we're going to use eggs for our own. We give that a tick. And now we're going to use the pick costume, right? So whenever it gets a new value, we want it to switch to the new costume. So we're just going to duplicate this if under our pick costume. And we're going to make it if type equals 2, switch costume to eggs. Yeah? So let's have a look at that now. So we've got, here it is, pick costume type. So you drive, man. So I want you to duplicate that if statement. Clip it to the bottom. And then change that number to 2. And then change the costume from star to be, that's it, in the menu, that's the one, just click the down arrow, that's the one, and we want it to be egg. Awesome, easy peasy. Cool, let's go back to our instructions, give it a tick because we've done that. Okay, and now we're going to create a new piece of code. So we're going to have to make our own my block now. Yeah, and we're going to call this one Reactor Player. And we're going to add an input, which will be a number, okay, so the round one. So we go back here, you're going to go to My Blocks, and you're going to make a block. And you're going to call it Reactor Player. Cool, yep. So we'll just change that there, because you missed one of the letters, but that's cool. And then I want you to add an input, the number or text input. Cool, perfect. Now you say, okay. And what are we going to call our number or text? Do you remember what I called it in instructions?
Text.
Yeah, they called it type.
Oh.
Okay, so let's pop type in there. T-Y-P-E.
I know it started with a P, a T.
Cool, and then you just click OK. Okay, so what we've got there is a block that says Reactor Player, and it's waiting for a number. So you can see we've got our new Reactor Player definition block popped up in here, and we've got our new Reactor Player block here. So we can go back and give that a tick. We've made it. Pow, next bit down. So make your Reactor Player either increase the points or increase the player's lives depending on the value of type. So we can see here, okay, if type equals 1, then change points by collectible value. But if type equals 2, then what does it change?
Change your life.
Nice. So if you collect the collectible that's type 1, you get a point. If you collect type 2, you get a life. Does that make sense? All right, so we're going to need an if, we're going to need some operators. So let's go for that now. So go for it, dude. So we want an if then, and we want an equals operator. That's a divide operator, that one. We want the one down a bit, gem-shaped equals, that's it. Drag it in. So we want to go to our my blocks now. And we should have, oh, where are we? Oh, it's up here, it's in our pink block. So where it says that, so drag that, yep, type, drag it across to the left one. The left one, that's it. If type equals 1, then what should it do? So if it's just the normal star, what do we get?
1 point.
Cool, so go to variables, change points by, yep, and we want it to say points. And then up the top there, you'll have one that says collectible value. So we said at the beginning that our collectibles are worth 1 point, so that's it, pop it in. So change points by collectible value, okay? And then the next one we want is, so you can just duplicate that, connect it to the bottom. If type equals 2, then we want to change lives. So you can leave that in, just pull down the menu, say lives, and get rid of that collectible value one. Just drag it out and pop it in the middle. Oh no, leave it in there, you just want a little bit in the middle. That's it, get rid of it. Awesome, so now if you collect 1, you get a point. If you collect 2, you get a life. Go back to your instructions, give it a tick. Cool. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more. So when I start as clone, you'll see in there there's a bit that says if touching, then change it by collectible type. Yeah, so we want it to react to player instead. So we've already told it what we want it to do. We want to say, okay, so now when you touch a character, instead of just doing the one thing, I want you to go and have a look at that Reactor Player script and work out what kind you are and do the right thing. So let's go back. Go up a little bit. You'll see it says if touching our character. There it is, right where your hand was. Cool. So we want to drag that out. No, leave that whole thing, and we just want to get rid of the change points part. Yep. So you can get, that's it. So leave that. You want to get rid of it. You can keep the delete this clone on the screen if you want it, because we're going to need it in a minute. Get rid of that one. Awesome. So we want it to react to player. So go to my blocks. So if touching the player, we want it to react to player. Yep, and you can clip that back in your if. Now, do you remember what went in the hole? Reactor player. Have a look at instructions, go on.
Collectible.
Collectible type, and where will we find that? Good. Awesome. Plug it in. Cool. Is that all we have to do? Let's check. Nice. So give it a tick. So now instead of just giving you a point, it's going to check with that block, that script that you made, that Reactor Player block. It's going to make sure it's doing the right thing. It's going to either give you a point or give you a life, depending on the kind of one it was. Awesome. Pretty cool, man. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we've got that, but with the new Powerup blocks, it's going to create a life for us, which is cool, right? And then we've got a third one as well. We could add another thing to our Reactor Player. If type equals 3, then do something else, right? And it can be whatever you want. You can make the cat look like something different. You could make the cat's speed change. You could do however we wanted to do that, but we'll come to that a bit later. We'll let the people do their creative thing at home, and we'll just move on with our instructions for now, yeah? But when we get home, you can add a few more bits to your game because it's all saved on your account now. Yeah? Sweet. So using our collectible type to make different collectibles appear at random, which we can do. So that's the next step, right? So we want it to be able to switch between stars and eggs, don't we? Switch between the two as they drop down, yeah? Because we don't want it to just all be stars and never get an egg. The whole point is that we can have it put random ones down for us so we can collect different things. Cool. So what we want to do now is we need to set the value of collectible type to make that work. So really that's just a number. It's the same thing that we used before. Yeah, remember we were playing with it to make it change costume, but now it does more things. So we want it to be able to change that itself. So what we do now is we go down a little bit in our instructions, because we're going to work with a variable inside our clone. So inside the green flag script, the big script for our collectible sprite, we need to add this if-else block inside our repeat until not. Okay, so go back to our code and find the big script for the collectibles. So scroll up a little bit more. There it is. And so repeat until not collectibles equals true. So we need to grab an if-else block. So from our controls, grab an if-else. That's it. Clip it in right at the top of your loop there. Right at the top of your repeat until loop. So inside it. Inside, that's it. Cool. Okay, and now you can grab that and clip that underneath. So we want that to move down. So the weight, grab the weight block, and put it outside of your if then. Outside. That's cool. We're gonna, oh, no. Just leave that all together. Cool. So let's go back to our instructions and have a look to make sure we know what we're talking about. Okay, so you can see how the wait go to is all underneath the if else. So go back and do that now. That's it. Wait should be outside your if else. So underneath that big block, but inside. That's it. Let go. Well done. Very good. So that's what we're looking for now. So if something, otherwise something else, then wait that time, drop another one. Yeah, so those 3 blocks we just click back in, they're the drop another one part of our script. So let's go have a look. So if what?
Oh, we also need to put these 2.
Cool. So there in our variables, we want set collectible type. Yep. And the top one will be 1. And the other one will be 2. Cool. So let's have a look at our instructions and see what that if then is, because that's an important bit and we'll talk through what that does. So if 50 equals the random number you pick, right? So if you can pick a number between 1 and 50, what's the chance of getting 50? How many out of 50 is the number 50? How many number 50s are there in the numbers up to 50?
What do you mean?
So, okay, how do you explain that? Let me think. So if you've got a list of numbers from 1 to 10, how many of those numbers are the number 7?
1.
So if I've got a list of numbers from 1 to 50, how many of those numbers are the number 50?
1.
So I've got 1 chance in every 50 that this will be the kind of one that I expect. Okay, so if we're going to drop 50 stars, we have to pick the number 50 before we get an egg. So how many eggs are we going to drop and how many stars are we going to drop?
We're going to drop about like 49 stars and 1 egg.
Awesome. That's probability, man. That's 1 in 50 chance. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got our set collectible type to 2, so that's our egg. So if we get the number 50, let's say we've got a bag of 50 paper tickets that all have the numbers 1 to 50, every time you pull out the number 50, you give them an egg. Any other number, you give them a star. Yeah? So let's go back to our code and make sure we've got these numbers in the right place, because we want it to be if we get the 50, then give me an egg, not give me a star. I think we've got them backwards. Look. All right, so let's change those over. And now what goes in here? We need a random operator and we need an equals operator. So do the equals one first and plug that in, and then pick random 1 to 10. We want it to be 1 to 50. Pop that in the first hole. Okay, you can do that. That's fine. Just make sure the first hole says 50 and that says 50 as well. Great. And then the first one should say 50. Great. So if we draw the number 50 out of our bag of 50 tickets, give me an egg. Every other number, give me a star. Make sense? Dope. Let's have a look at our instructions. So that's cool. That's what they look like now, right? So you can give that a tick. And then we move down. Okay. So this gives a 1 in 50 chance, just like we explained, of setting our collectible type to be an egg. So every 50 stars, one of them will be an egg that gives you an extra life. Now you could change that number, right? As long as you change both the numbers in your script, as long as you change both the 50s to be something bigger or something smaller, yeah, then you can make those odds different. But 50 is pretty good. 1 in 50 is a pretty good ratio to get lives, I reckon. Yeah, we don't want our players to be able to play forever. So then we go down here and we can go to super power-ups, which is the last bit of our instructions, yeah? Awesome. So, super power-ups, the next level of making our game awesomeness, is that we've got our power-up collectible working, all right? So you get a new life when you collect the egg, and that's cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a different thing. Instead of giving out an extra life, we're just going to like make it rain. So like when we collect our special power-up, it's just going to dump stars on stars on stars on stars, yeah? So that for like about 10 seconds or however many seconds you want, instead of getting a free life, you just get like massive boost of stars, yeah? You get heaps and heaps of points really quickly, yeah? Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to find your Reactor Player block, and you see here that at the moment it changes lives by 1. We're going to bin that, right? We're going to take that away, and we're going to add a broadcast instead that says Collectable Rain, right? So when it reacts to you, it's going to broadcast that message, and suddenly it's just going to be like wham, 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 wham. Stars are just going to come dripping out of the sky. Cool? All right, so let's go back to your code. So we've got our Reactor Player code right there. So I want you to get rid of that change lives by 1 and add a broadcast. And we want to change that message So you can just call it rain or collectible rain, or make it rain, or dollar bills.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it that.
All right, man, go for it. Cool. All right, enter. So we got a new message, dollar bills. So when you get your second message, it's going to broadcast dollar bills, and stuff is just going to fall out of the sky really fast. All right, we're going to make it rain. So we've got that added in now, so that's really cool. We also need to make a new piece of code. Okay, and so what this new bit of code is, that when the collectible receives that message, when it hears the message dollar bills, okay, it's going to set that collectible frequency to be almost nothing. So instead of waiting every 1 second, it's just going to go whoa and dump a whole bunch, okay? So you can see here, it's going to dump a lot of them, okay? So that's like a 10th, a 100th, a 1,000th, a 10,000th, a 100,000th, okay, of a second. It's just going to just be like, wham, it's going to dump like a huge drop of stars on you, okay? So let's make this code here. So when I receive dollar bills, set my collectible frequency to be this tiny crazy number here, okay, like the super fraction. Go for it. So when I receive dollar bills, awesome. Change my frequency, yeah, so variables, set frequency, to 0 point and a bunch of zeros and then a 1. Whoa, that is fast. Okay, that's cool, man. It can be that fast if you want. This is your game. Okay, and then so we wait a second. So for 1 second or for 2 seconds, so put a wait block in. How long do you want it to like make it rain? 1 second, 2 seconds?
Put it there.
Yeah, pop it in. How long should it make it rain for? What? 15 seconds? Your score? Okay, that's cool, man. It's your game. That is a long time in game time, right? 15 seconds is a long time in video games. Okay, cool, yeah, next part. So then we want it to set collectible frequency back to 1. So after 15 seconds of making it rain, okay, frequency back to 1. All right. So I would also, if I were you, just because I know you like this, I would add a sound. So when you get dollar bills, it should make like a ka-ching noise or something else, right? So add a sound, go to sounds. Let's add a new sound. Okay, so what, I reckon it should be an effect, right? Effect, or it could be a wacky sound, I guess. But what sound should it play when you get dollar bills? No. What do you reckon?
Trying to find like a money sound.
Money sound. Don't know if there is one. Let's keep going. Skid, side whistle, keep going, keep going. Awesome. So go back to your code. And we want it to start sound. So grab the sound. We want it to start sound. Ta-da. Put it up here at the very top when I receive dollar bills. Okay. Awesome. And so now we've got our code going. So when I receive dollar bills, so if you touch the egg, yeah, then it'll say dollar bills. And then it'll go da-da, and then it'll just like rain stars on you. Okay, so let's check our instructions and make sure we've got it all done there. We add that little bit of a sound, so give that a tick. Cool, scroll down a bit. And then that's the end of our instructions for today. So let's test your game and see how it works. Let's see if we can get an egg. So remember, we're going to wait.
Give me a star. Oh no. Give me a star. Give me.
We're going to wait. It's going to be 1 in every 50 stars. Oh, there, egg. Get the egg.
Egg.
Get the egg.
No.
Wait. Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
Dollar bills.
Give me that cash.
So for like 15 seconds, it's just going to drop stars on you.
Me.
You don't even have to move. You're just going to rack up the points. Oh no, don't die.
No. Yeah, just stay still. Eggs.
How many can you collect? There's another egg.
I want my eggs. No.
Oh, you died.
No. Give me an egg. Give me an egg. No, give me an egg.
Ah, you missed them. Back to normal. That's pretty cool though. It worked really good. And so when you die, test the die. Script, we want to die. One more. One more death.
If I see an egg before I die, I'm charging to that egg. Oh my god.
You're not trying very hard to die the way. There we go. So you lose. Game over. 1 solitary star, all finished. Nice, man. That's great work. Was that fun?
Yeah.
Should we go home and add some more stuff to it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll add a couple more sprites that do some different things. Maybe one that adds lives. Yeah, and we can upload some crazy sounds. We'll get your ka-ching money noise. Yeah, awesome. So thanks for watching in, everybody. It was really great to have you along. Zach, as always, was a champ. You did some really good work today, man. That was good. I enjoyed working with you today. I'm looking forward to going home and adding a few more bits to your game later on. So if you make something awesome, share it with us at rpf.io/home. We love seeing all the stuff that you do. We really enjoy sharing your work and things like that. Don't forget to watch our live stream on Wednesday afternoons at 2 p.m. Because often I have Zach or I have other young coders come on and we talk to some really cool people in the industry, people who work for the European Space Agency or people who are doing amazing things at Bletchley Park with coding, all sorts of really cool things for you to come and have a look at. And yeah, we'll see you again next week. Keep making awesome stuff, everybody. Catch you later. Bye.